Hello everyone, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to day 4 of National Graduate Week, brought to you by the Career Map Media Group. Today I am joined by Royal Mail, who have an exciting session planned. This event is going to give you an insight into the life at Royal Mail Group and also their commitment to supporting professional career opportunities for graduates. This event is really an opportunity to discover more about the variety of roles on offer, ask lots of questions, and hear about their exciting work environment. Some other things to remember are that this session is being recorded and it will be emailed to you post-event, so do not worry if you miss something. And you can also ask questions throughout the presentation. Please put these in the chat Q&A only section on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will try our best to answer them all at the end during our Q&A session. So, without further ado, I am going to hand over to Natalie, who is the Early Career Manager at Royal Mail. Natalie, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. So hi, everybody. I am an Early Careers Manager for Royal Mail. So I look after our graduate and our apprenticeship programmes at Royal Mail, and I'm delighted to be here today to tell you a little bit about what we do at Royal Mail and the opportunities that we have on offer. So you will see on this screen our email address. That's our email address to get in touch with our early careers team. Sorry, it is a long email address, but it will be on the final pages of the presentation as well if you miss it. And I'm just going to turn my camera off so you can see the QR code. So you'll see a QR code there as well, which will take you to our directly to our recruitment pages where we advertise all our opportunities. So without further ado, before we start talking about Royal Mail, I would love to hear from all of you, and I would love to hear about what you are currently studying at university or what you've recently studied and what area it is that you are interested in. If you have a particular area, that would be great if you could put it in the chat box. It'd be wonderful to hear from you. Don't be shy. Anyone want to put anything in the chat box what it is that you're studying? No. I'll just give it a couple more seconds. Okay, we can always come back to that. So oh, there we go. International Business Management. Okay, have you got any more? Hopefully, some of the opportunities that we're going to discuss today would be appealing to some of you on the call. So I will start with a bit of an overview on Royal Mail. So Royal Mail comprises of two main companies. We have Royal Mail, who provides our postal service, and then we have Parcelforce, who provides our parcel service. We also have GLS, who provides our parcels, logistics and services throughout Europe, as well as the US and in Canada. So they are the two main companies that comprises of Royal Mail Group. We are the UK's universal service provider, and we are in a unique position here at Royal Mail in that we play an active part in the UK economy. Last year at Royal Mail, we handled and delivered over 1 billion parcels. So I'm sure everyone here can appreciate just how much team effort has to go into that many parcels a year. We have 85,000 posties who play an important role in the communities. Thanks to them, Royal Mail remain the UK's most trusted delivery company amongst online shoppers. We are one of the UK's largest employers, and we are proud to be a visible part of all UK communities. Our people and our communities are at the heart of what we do here at Royal Mail. We've been going for over 500 years, and we really believe in building trust with our people and building trust on the doorstep with our customers. We are the 7th largest contributor to the UK economy of any UK company. As well as our 85,000 posties, we also have many different functions and opportunities here at Royal Mail. So at Royal Mail, we are proud of our diverse workforce. We are one of the UK's largest employers, and we employ around 130,000 people across our group. That does fluctuate and can go up to 150,000 at times. For 2022, the total average pay for male and female employees continues to be broadly the same. So each year we conduct a company-wide review to calculate our gender pay gap, and we are pleased that in 2022 the total average pay remains broadly the same. We have a number of DEI support networks here at Royal Mail who play a critical role in supporting the needs of our employees. These support networks amplify the colleague's voice, and they also create a community for our diverse workforce. So some of these DEI support networks include the likes of Women and Allies, Parents and Carers, LGBTQ and Friends, Disability and Friends, our Embrace Network, and also our Next Generation Youth Group, who you will hear more about today. In 2022-2023, Royal Mail invested £8.4 million in learning and development. This equated to 30,000 training days. Last year, Royal Mail also launched our academy. So our training academy is designed to develop the next generation of leadership talent. And we have a culture here at Royal Mail to grow, innovate, and offer learning opportunities to all our employees. So just moving on to the next slide, what really matters to us at Royal Mail. So Royal Mail has been named the Times Top 50 Employers for Gender Equality in 2023. So this was previously the top 50 employers for women. So Royal Mail are really committed to taking action to ensure gender equality in the workplace at Royal Mail. We are proud to be a responsible employer at Royal Mail, and 98% of our people are on permanent contracts, except where there is a short-term need. So this would usually be at the likes of Christmas when we have a peak in our demand. We earned Disability Confidence Employer status in 2018 and support the government's commitment to have 1 million more disabled people in the workforce by 2027. So we are taking action to improve how we recruit, retrain and develop disabled people here at Royal Mail. So what else matters to Royal Mail? We are the greenest carrier in the UK. We are committed to providing sustainable services for our customers and communities, and we are taking action to continually reduce emissions, reduce waste, and improve the air quality in the communities which we operate. We are the greenest carrier in the UK. Research does suggest that 50% of buyers would be more likely to shop with online retailers with a clear commitment to sustainability. Our delivery staff already provide us with the lowest carbon footprint per parcel of any UK carrier. So 6 reasons why Royal Mail is a great place to work and also a green place to work. 3/4 of our parcels are made purely by foot at Royal Mail or through what we call a park and loop method. We have over 5,000 electric vehicles with plans to grow the numbers even further. We have moved to 100% renewable electricity across all of our buildings. We already have the lowest carbon footprint per parcel of any major UK delivery company, and we plan to reduce that further. We have a target at Royal Mail to be net zero by 2040, which is 10 years earlier than some of our competitors. You will see from these stats that Royal Mail are heavily investing in technology such as electric vehicles, but we are also investing in things like drones, alternative fuel trucks, and energy improvements to our estate, and we are committed to providing sustainable services for our customers. So that was a bit of an overview about Royal Mail. Moving on to our graduate opportunities. So Royal Mail and our early careers opportunities are national. So that does mean that we operate within Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, as well as England. Our graduate positions could be based in any of those areas, and we do have graduates who have relocated for the programme, and you will hear from some of them graduates today. So a little bit more about our graduate opportunity. We are looking to recruit before Christmas for our September 2024 cohort. Most of our graduate schemes are rotational, so you will get to explore and experience different parts of the organisation. So these are some of the areas that you would rotate on a graduate programme within Royal Mail. So the first function being operations. So when we talk about operations, we mean the processing, delivery and collection of mail and parcels. And working in operations would involve coordinating and guiding teams, ensuring everybody feels supported, and you would play a critical role in ensuring that mail reaches our customers quickly and efficiently. We're in a massive period of transformation here at Royal Mail and focusing on a more digital and a more automated approach. So we need graduates who are leaders who will play a key role in that growth. To work in operations, you would need to be adaptable to solve problems at a fast pace, as we rely on our managers in Royal Mail to foresee and overcome potential obstacles. So moving on to commercial, when we talk about commercial in Royal Mail, we are talking about the business end of Royal Mail. So we are talking about departments like sales and marketing and the working on the creation and keeping of customers here at Royal Mail. Other rotations would include in international and parcel force. So that relates to our parcel function and the collection and delivery systems of parcels. As you can imagine, every day at Royal Mail, we deliver thousands and thousands of parcels. And to do that, we rely on the efficient non-stop operations. We have 54 depots across the UK from which we collect and deliver parcels to businesses and homes. These depots feed into our hubs where parcels are sorted and then dispatched around the country, or they do head overseas to our international network. Again, within our parcel force function, you would be supporting and guiding teams to make sure that we are operating efficiently. All of our rotations, you would get to work with other departments and functions. So, for example, you may get to experience some areas of HR, as you are likely to be involved in things like employee relations and possibly resourcing. We do also have a standalone finance scheme, which we recruit to most years. This would involve rotations around different parts of finance rather than different parts of the operations, but we do recruit to the finance standalone graduate scheme every year. So, more detail about what our graduate scheme entails. As I've just spoken about, you would rotate across different teams. You would gain a breadth of experience working with colleagues at all levels of the business. So we do have a number of key stakeholders in our graduate scheme who are senior leaders, who do invest a lot of time in our graduate scheme. So you would get to work with different levels of people within the business. You would deliver and implement projects, and you would support business innovation. You would get a varied opportunity to understand and learn about the industry and the business in a greater depth. You would also have access to mentors and coaches who provide invaluable support to our graduates, ensure you maximise your time with us. You would also get 4.5 weeks annual leave, plus paid bank holidays, and we do offer competitive salaries here at Royal Mail. You would also get access to employee discounts, networks and many more benefits. So we do have a benefits portal that all our graduates have access to. And you would also be given the opportunity to undertake professional qualifications or an apprenticeship study should you wish to. And that would likely be at level 7. So that would likely be at your master's level. So we do have a number of graduates who have gone on to further study when they've joined Royal Mail. So that is just a little bit about Royal Mail and our graduate scheme. So I am now going to pass you over to Leonie, who's going to talk a little bit about herself and her time here at Royal Mail.
Hi everyone, hopefully you can see and hear me okay. So yeah, my name's Leonie. I've been at Royal Mail now coming on, well, 6 years actually, 6 years last month. I joined in 2017 on the grad scheme, so I did the operations grad scheme. My first placement was up in Glasgow in the mail centre there, so I was managing a work area of post people. They weren't the same post people who go out and deliver letters. They sort of work in the mail centre, in the depot. So really good experience there. Pretty much kind of straight away. I had an element of training and then kind of managing a team quite early on. So that gave me a real insight into the sort of processing function. And then I stayed within operations for the 2 years. So my next placement was in delivery. So I was in a delivery office managing the post people who do go out and deliver the post. And then when my grad scheme came to an end, I was doing a role as a sort of regional support manager, so involved in lots of things really, from training and sort of workforce planning, etc., resourcing, which is really interesting to see a sort of different side of the business there. And then most recently I've been involved in the deployment of the 2 parcel hubs that we've got at Royal Mail. So you'll see there, so those kind of top 2 photos, and these are absolutely massive, fully automated sites that Royal Mail has. So yeah, I was involved in the sort of project side of that and deploying that into the operation. So yeah, really interesting again to be involved in something different, into kind of projects and programs. And most recently I've moved over to the commercial team, and my title is Product Design Manager. So any new products or services that Royal Mail want to offer the market, I'm in the team who design that. So we kind of get given a concept saying, you know, we want to be able to offer customers this, and then I'm one of the people who kind of designs how it will actually work. So it's been useful having the sort of operations and projects background to be able to know a bit about what I'm talking about and how it will actually work. So that's my day job, and then on the side as well, I am one of the chairs of the Next Gen ERG. So ERG means Employee Resource Group, kind of otherwise known as network. So this is essentially a network for any and all young people in Royal Mail. It's quite difficult sometimes, you know, like not always being around the people that you work with, especially kind of coming in after COVID. Lots of the teams are remote, so we wanted to build a network specifically for young people. So we had a launch event last year in person, and that's the photo in the bottom right, in London, which was really good. And that was basically just sort of a kick-off session, a kind of listening session to hear what people want from the group, what they want as a young person in Royal Mail, with regards to sort of career development, etc. So yeah, had a really good national launch event, and we're now sort of splitting up into various regions, and we have a steering board of 8 people who all lead on different things. So one of them is going to be a mentorship lead, so specifically linking up young people in Royal Mail who are looking for a bit of mentoring, a bit of coaching if they're not sure about their next step. Also got people focused on events and sort of charity fundraising and how we can help the communities that we serve. So lots of things to get involved in, and you know, essentially it's just a great network to be involved in as a young person in Royal Mail, just to know that there is support out there, and sort of, you know, a shoulder to lean on when you join the business, just bounce ideas off, or, you know, have a bit of a moan too if you're not having a great day. So yeah, just sort of a really fundamental support network, I think, which when I joined the business, there wasn't really this kind of network in place, but I think it's very valuable to have it. We've had some good feedback so far. So that's my sort of whistle stop tour of my experience in Royal Mail so far. Yeah, so hand back to you, Natalie.
Yes, thank you, Leonie. You've had such a varied experience across Royal Mail. It's great to hear, and the community that you're building for under 30s and Royal Mail with the next gen ERG is just fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you.
We are now going to pass over to Louisa, who's going to tell us a little bit about her experience since joining Royal Mail. So over to you, Louisa.
Thanks, Natalie. So my name's Louisa McDonald. I'm a customer operations manager. I've just offboarded in the last 3 months of the graduate scheme. I'm a customer operations manager in Oban Delivery Office, which is a small office on the west coast of Scotland. I'm just going to take you on a whistle-stop tour through sort of my career journey so far. So I graduated from the University of Glasgow in 2020 with a degree in philosophy and politics, so absolutely nothing to do with operations. And my only previous work experience before that was waitressing and hospitality. I was motivated to apply for the operations graduate scheme with Royal Mail because of the rotational placements. It was really dynamic, and I wanted to work for a company that had this much history and was everywhere around the whole country and in every single community. The graduate scheme for us was delayed until 2021 because of COVID. So I started in September 2021. I was working in Edinburgh for the first few months, learning about the business with the senior leadership team in Scotland on various projects surrounding improvement, engagement and efficiency. I then went straight into the operation for Christmas 2021 and was a work area manager in Inverness Mail Centre. So that was managing a small team and working with other work area managers and the shift managers to deliver Christmas. And obviously that was during COVID, so that came with all its challenges as well. The next opportunity came up in March 2022. An opportunity came up for operations graduates to work in the previous CEO, Simon Thompson's office as a 6-month secondment. I was offered this position and worked directly with the CEO and the executive board, along with the senior business manager and the CEO's executive assistant. This obviously was an incredible opportunity and gave me an understanding of the commercial objectives of the business and more of the overall picture. And it was working with stakeholders of all levels, so speaking to people within the operation, speaking to the executive board, speaking to the group level, and ensuring all reporting was carried out to strict deadlines. It was a phenomenal opportunity, and I learned so much about how a company on this level and on this scale operates and changes to stay relevant and efficient in today's world, like how we've changed from a letters business to a parcels business. From then, I came back into the operation as a customer operations manager in Inverness Delivery Office. This is a big delivery office with about 140 staff, so it's multi-managed. Wasn't without its challenges given the time that I was there with Industrial Action, but like I say, I managed a big team and it taught me a lot of resilience. Also made me realise that delivery is where I wanted to be. I really, really liked delivery. I'd seen delivery, I'd seen processing, and I'd seen distribution, and I realised I really liked delivery. So in July of this year, I offboarded into the customer operations role in Oban. So I now manage a team of 40 to 50 members of staff to get mail out the door into the community in a really rural area, dealing with ferries and arrivals from Glasgow Mail Centre. This role involves fleet management, managing people, and quite challenging logistics given the area that we're in. But it's been really, really interesting and really good fun so far. Just a little bit about the application process that we did. Here's just some photos from my time at Royal Mail so far. A little bit about the application process. The application process was an application, then a biometric test, and then an assessment centre. The assessment centre for Royal Mail is very similar to other ones that I undertook when I was a graduate. They're not just interviews, there's a lot of scenarios. Royal Mail had multiple scenarios. My main advice for that is be interested, be willing to learn about the company, be prepared for long and intense days. And even though it's cheesy, just take your whole self to the interviews. They can be quite scary. And also don't worry about not having any relevant career experience. My only experience, like I say, was waitressing and hospitality, and I was still able to answer the questions with the work experience that I did have. Just finish off with some overall advice for graduates. Take advantage of every single opportunity. Don't be afraid to ask if you can visit somewhere, work somewhere, or see something. Some of the best opportunities that I've had with a company are just simply because I've asked the question if I could go and visit somewhere or do something. Get involved with everything. Again, this business is all over the country. I got really involved in International Women's Day this year and held an event, which was the one that was the furthest north in the whole country. There's amazing training opportunities with a company of this scale as well. Both hard and soft skills. So I got trained to operate the letter sorting machines that we have in the mail centres, which just gives me a better understanding of running the operation. But I also have mental health training that I got with the company, and assessment training, all these things, amazing opportunities. Don't worry about not knowing the technical elements of the job. Like I say, my degree was not anything related to operations, and I still feel like I could understand a lot of it. Just ask questions. There's no such thing as a silly question, and everyone's willing to teach you and learn. Everywhere you go, find your people. Having a network and support is so useful. And as Leonie says, it's really good to find other young people in the business. There's lots of us, and being on the graduate scheme means that you've got access to those people. So it's really good to have that support and take that support with you to your next placement as well. Operations is generally about how we can successfully run an operation and get the mail to our customers, but it's impossible if you don't have a team with you. So my biggest sort of thing that I've learned is that people skills are really, really important in this job, and it's important to take the team with you. And finally, it's totally okay to not have a plan when you leave university and you don't know what you're doing. I had no idea I'd be managing a delivery office within 2 years. So yeah, good luck and embrace every opportunity. That's me.
Thank you, Louisa. Such a good overview of all the different things that you've done, and some absolutely brilliant advice there. We do encourage our graduates to build their own network and get out and see. It's such a massive organisation. We do encourage our graduates to get out and see the different areas of the organisation and build those networks and connections with people. And that's how some of our graduates have moved into different functions and stuff. So thank you, Louisa. I'm now going to pass over to Stefan, who's going to tell us a little bit more about his time at Royal Mail. So over to you, Stefan.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Yes, so my name's Stefan. So I am a current operational graduate. So I joined at the same time as Louisa in 2021. I'm currently now a late shift traffic office manager down in Bridgend. Originally, I was actually from Shropshire, but in my application, I decided I'd like to move down to South Wales. And that was something that Royal Mail supported me with, because as we've mentioned before, so we are a national company, and really wherever you want to work, Royal Mail will have some sort of presence there. So yeah, I've currently been in Royal Mail for 2 years and 2 months. And like I said, in my current role in Bridgend, I've been here for about 7 months now, and I'm currently in the process of offboarding. So again, similar to what Louisa was saying, like my background was absolutely nothing to do with parcels or operations. I was originally a barman working for the Marstons. So I was waiting tables, I've worked in kitchens. I then moved into a company called Lyrica, which was an office wholesaler. Again, completely different to anything like Royal Mail. Before I finally joined Royal Mail in 2021. And to mention, actually, my degree is in event management, and I studied at Staffordshire University. So I remember when I was doing my assessment centre, there's people there with all sorts of degrees. I remember being sat next to someone who just finished law, someone who was they'd just got a history degree, and I believe there may have been a doctor as well, someone who just finished a medical degree. So really, Royal Mail is quite open to just all sorts of backgrounds. So yeah, upon joining Royal Mail, I spent 6 months working on a sick absence project when I first joined, which was a fantastic opportunity to really travel the length of South Wales at the time, visiting different delivery offices, and really get to understand how delivery works, because it really is the biggest part of the Royal Mail operation is delivery. And yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic opportunity to try and get my understanding of how Royal Mail works as a business, how all the pieces come together in the operation. So I was doing that for 6 months. I then moved into Cardiff Mail Centre, and I was the first work area manager to operate a brand new parcel sort machine that came into Cardiff Mail Centre. So yeah, when the first couple of weeks there, I was given the task of processing 90,000 parcels a night with a team of 10 on this brand new machine, and to learn all its faults and quirks. And yeah, really get to grips with it. And that was a really challenging and exciting experience to do that. whilst I was at Cardiff, just before I start my next placement, I also joined Henley Business School. So as Natalie mentioned earlier, I was given the opportunity to do a level 7 apprenticeship. And for this cohort is it with the Henley Business School, which is part of Reading University. So I started and I've just nearly finished. I've got a couple of weeks left now of doing my senior leaders level 7 apprenticeship. So after my time in Cardiff Mail Centre, I moved into Pontypridd Delivery Office, which for people not familiar with South Wales is in the valleys. And it's a geographically very challenging area to deliver to. There's some wonderfully great areas to deliver to, such as London, where you're just going door to door, and it's nice, easy walks. But when you're in the valleys, there's lots of steep hills. The weather's not always fantastic, and it can be challenging. But it's also a part of the fun, working with people to try and make these duties work. And the role that I've mentioned earlier that I'm currently in, and which was my final role as a graduate in Royal Mail, is as a late shift traffic office manager. So I went from processing at Cardiff Mail Centre to delivery in Pontypridd, and I now work in logistics, where I'm learning all sorts of interesting things about HGV law and working with a group of 50 drivers. Just go on to the next slide for you. So as everyone's kind of mentioned before, Royal Mail is a lot more than just letters and parcels. Like you can see here, some of the places that I've been able to visit whilst on the graduate scheme, we're planes, there's trains, too many lorries, loads of lorries everywhere, and absolutely tons and tons of people. I think it was mentioned about 130,000 people work for Royal Mail, and that is really the biggest part of our business is people. So my takeaway from Royal Mail is that we'll give you every opportunity that you go out looking for. Especially as a graduate, there are some opportunities that we presented to you, but especially if you're curious, this is fantastic for you. I mean, there you can see where I went to East Midlands Airport. That's just something where one day I was like, do you know what? I want to see how the air operation works. I know we take lorry to the airport, but I want to know what happens once we go there. So I sent off an email to someone, and next week I've been invited to come and attend the airport and see their night operation there, which was absolutely fantastic. As Natalie mentioned, there's been an absolutely massive amount of funding into development of Royal Mail, and in the bottom left picture is our new massive super hub in Rugby. But as a part of that as well as also the brand new Royal Mail Academy, where I spent quite a bit of my time. But it's just kind of absolutely fantastic facilities for learning. Part of the recruitment process, again, I was in the same cohort as Louisa, so it was very similar. So it was an online application, initially just CV. Then I did some online biometric testing before I was invited to an assessment centre, which at the time was in Wolverhampton Mail Centre. So I said I was there with 4 other graduates at the time, 4 other potential graduates. And there were 2 previous graduates from other cohorts as well, just kind of act as mentors and supports while we're there. So we did quite a few different activities. I remember we had the general interview, and then we did some scenarios and some teamwork together. And my biggest advice for doing the assessment centres is really just to be genuine to yourself. I think work is a massive part of everyone's life, and you want to make sure that you're part of a company that you're genuinely willing to be part of. So my other advice for people applying was just be really open-minded. When I first joined Royal Mail, like I said, my background was predominantly hospitality. And I think if someone had told me on my first day that, oh, by the way, you're going to be managing a fleet of HGV vehicles and 50 drivers, I'd have been like, oh, crazy, there's no way I could have done that. But actually, really, Royal Mail really just help you realise just the things that you are capable of, which is often a lot more than you think it is. Again, Louisa kind of touched on this as well. It's like it's okay if you're finishing university and you don't necessarily know where you want to go next. As long as you're open-minded and you're willing to try new things and you're always looking for new ways to learn, I'd say that's probably the most important thing. And then no matter where you go, there's always going to be good days, there's always going to be bad days. Like I said, we've had periods of industrial action. I've had some truly awful weather. Then they're always the funnest days, although there are many great days at Royal Mail. So it's absolutely important you have a support network. And as I mentioned earlier, with the young people, employee resource group, things like that, especially in Royal Mail where there's not always a lot of young people. It's great to really have those networks of people that you can relate with and have great relationships with. So I think that'd be my best advice is just always be open-minded, be yourself, and if something scares you, it probably means you really should go for it and give it a try. Okay, and that's me.
Thank you, Stefan. You've had some massive tasks and challenges along the way, but all good fun. All good fun. So just to sum up some of the things that we can offer at Royal Mail. So we do offer further development opportunities, qualifications. We have mentoring and coaching support. Royal Mail are massive on our charity partnerships. So our current charity partner is British Heart Foundation, and we've committed to raising £2 million for the British Heart Foundation. But as an organisation, we've also committed to training 100,000 of our employees in CPR. So we're massive on charity partnerships here at Royal Mail. We have what's called a people panel, where we sit and listen to our staff and listen to what matters to them to try and improve the organisation. We have lots of networks. We have employee networks, apprentice networks, and we do offer competitive salaries here at Royal Mail. You will be given the opportunity to learn more and explore more about the business and the industry, and you will get opportunities, as you've just heard, to move into different areas of the organisation. It is such a vast organisation, and not many organisations can say that they can operate in every single community in the UK. We do offer employee discounts. We have a benefits portal, massive transformation journey that we're on here at Royal Mail, and innovation for the future. We do have also wellbeing support and an employee assistance programme. So all of our employees have 24/7 access to a GP. So we all know how difficult it is to get a GP appointment these days. We can access GPs in Royal Mail as an employee within 24 hours usually. So we do have an assistance programme that's open to all employees, and we are using cutting edge technology, and we are one of the largest employers in the UK. So that is it from us. Thank you for your time. If you are interested in joining our graduate programme for a September 2024 start, we do hope to go live with our recruitment towards the end of the year. So we do hope to go live before Christmas, and that will be on our recruitment pages. You can also email us at the Early Careers team, and we will add you to a mailing list so we can contact you directly when vacancies do go live. And then, any questions? So I'm going to pass you back to Career Map.
Yeah, hello. All right. Thank you so much to our host from Royal Mail. That was a really great informative session. It's really nice to hear from actual people who have gone through the graduate scheme themselves or are currently going through it. And just to hear them talk about it so positively is always really nice and really inspiring for our viewers. So we've got some very good questions. And of course, you've just pointed out where people can apply for your graduate programs. And you have said that you're hoping to hire by December. So can I just confirm for our viewers, is that recruitment process open now? And when does it shut exactly? Or is it kind of a rolling thing?
It's not open now, so it will be open towards the end of the year, and it will shut potentially around the end of January time.
Okay, so brilliant. So really just apply as soon as you can if you are interested, to everyone watching today. So let's have a look. Ricky says, are there any roles in sustainability strategy at Royal Mail? Okay, so we've not confirmed where the rotations would be, but that is an area that we would look into. We do, once our graduates come in, we do encourage them to build networks across the organisation, to go out and see different areas of the organisation, speak to different people. If there is a particular interest, that you have, that you may have done your studies in previously, we would encourage you to try and build those connections and build that network, and that might lead to opportunities within the organisation. But what happens with the graduate programme is you will be on a fixed term contract for a couple of years, and then towards the end of the programme, we would look for a permanent offboarding solution for you. So if there is a particular interest towards the end of the programme, we would look in those areas to see if there's any suitable vacancies. That's brilliant. That's really reassuring to know that although, I think it was Louisa who started on operations, and now she's doing product design. Is that right, Louisa?
That was Leonie's doing product
Leonie.
design. Yeah. Leonie's had to drop off, unfortunately.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, Louisa's gone into a customer operations manager in Scotland. So yeah, it's quite varied, the opportunity. It's such a vast organisation. Most people just see your posties on the doorstep. They don't realise what the actual functions are in the background of Royal Mail. I certainly didn't realise it when I joined Royal Mail. And we do encourage people to get out into different parts of the business, and to, even myself, you know, I work in the early careers team in part of HR, but I was encouraged when I joined to go out on operations and go out and deliver parcels, deliver mail, you know, get a feel for the rest of the organisation and the operation in the background. So yeah, that we do encourage you to experience different parts of the organisation and get that holistic view.
Nice. So then Samuel asks that he saw on Royal Mail's website that one of your values is be brilliant, and how can Samuel show that value in his interview?
Okay, so I think be positive. If you can show during your interview, we encourage our graduates to say yes. So if they are given an opportunity, say yes, and then worry about how you're going to do that after you've said yes. So I would say during an interview, if you could show that you do take opportunities that are presented to you, if you could show that, and just that you are a role model, you know, in other things that you've undertaken. I don't know if Stefan and Louisa could give more of an idea in terms of their interview, and you know, how you were brilliant, how you showed you were brilliant in your interview.
Yeah, I definitely think in part of my interview, and I touched on this a little bit, is just the genuineness as well. Like I said, Royal Mail's a massive people business. And I do think the part of being brilliant of that is just by bringing, you know, your whole self into the workplace. You know, I mean, we touched obviously a lot as well on diversity and sexuality as well, and how that's encouraged within Royal Mail. So yeah, I think just being brilliant is just showing that you can, be genuine to the company. I think, as long as you're genuine, you're a good role model, then people see you're brilliant.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And also just say, like I say, it doesn't matter if you don't feel like you have any relevant operations experience. Not knowing about the operation isn't what matters. It's being able to use the experience that you have so far, whether that's in your degree or in your career so far, to answer the questions, and just, like I say, take your whole self to it.
Nice. Thank you both. And thank you to you, Natalie, as well for that. So I think this question is actually aimed at you, Louisa, and that was, how did you find moving from Glasgow to London during that process? So obviously as a graduate you might get placed somewhere or you might just want to up and move. So how did you find that?
I've done a couple of moves with the grad scheme. I've worked in London, I've worked at home in Inverness, and now I've moved to Oban as well. But I've also worked in Edinburgh and Glasgow. I've worked basically around the whole of Scotland with the graduate scheme. And it's a phenomenal opportunity. You get to meet so many people. I think it can be quite scary to sort of just up and move, but it's one of the only companies that really is, as Natalie says, in the whole community, in every single community all over the whole country. So I found it really, really interesting that it was a graduate scheme. It was one of the things that drew me to it. It's a graduate scheme that means that you're not, just based in an office in one place in the country. You can literally go anywhere. And we've had, like, I'm sure Stefan would agree with this as well, we've had some phenomenal travel opportunities as well, just around the country. We've seen like the Heathrow Worldwide Distribution Centre. As graduates, we got a trip down to see that, and not many people can say that they've seen where the mail goes for the whole world. So really cool opportunities.
Nice. So following on from talking about those opportunities, Samuel has asked, is there an opportunity to work overseas at all?
I wouldn't say it was the norm. I'm not aware of any graduates who've been sent overseas, but never say never. So it wouldn't be the norm. Whether it happens later on in a graduate programme, I think it would just depend on where you were in the business. So if you were working in international, there might be them opportunities.
Yeah, but don't let that put you off, audience, because there's a lot of beautiful places in the UK to go and visit.
Louise, yeah, I mean, Louise is in Oban, aren't you? You're in a truly lovely, it's a lovely part of Scotland.
Beside the sea.
Yes, definitely.
So not overseas, but by the sea, Sam. You'll work by the sea. So then, question from Matthew, and you may or may not be able to answer this, Natalie, and that is, have you got any examples of what tests and problem solving might happen during the assessment centres? I know some companies like to keep their assessment centre things on hush-hush, but are you able to share anything with us?
Did you get some problem solving activities that you had to do, Stefan and Louisa? Can you remember?
Yeah, I can remember mine quite well, actually. I was thinking about it the other day. So my assessment centre, bear in mind, this was just before COVID. As Louisa mentioned earlier, due to COVID, our cohort was delayed for a year joining the business. So I imagine it might change a little bit since then. But so it was in Wolverhampton Mail Centre. There was myself and 3 other candidates. We were quite a small group. There was 2 previous graduates, although I believe at the time they were current graduates that were there to support us on the day. So they weren't anything to do with the assessment centre. They were literally just there for us to ask questions and kind of just be like guides for us on the day. The way I remember my assessment centre being structured is we started off, we did a group project together. So we were given a scenario, I believe, where we were pretending to be mail centre managers. Like I said, some mail centres are the major hubs around the UK. I believe there's about 20 plus of them, predominantly in cities. And there are a lot of where your main mail processing takes place. And we're given the task of dividing customers between different mail centres and which ones we should maybe give a higher priority to if we had to. That was a group project. That was probably for about half an hour, I think, in total. I then did an interview with the mail centre manager for Wolverhampton. And I recall that being quite, it wasn't informal, but it also wasn't one of these like super serious, you sat in a panel in front of people. It's quite a personal interview where we kind of just had more of a conversation than I'd say a sort of question and answer session. I then moved on to an individual assessment where I was with a member of HR and I was kind of given the task of giving a presentation, hypothetically, to a group of workers regarding the rollout of some new technology and how do I go about communicating that with the workers and how would I possibly deal with any resistance that I might encounter whilst doing that. I think that kind of took me about half a day, I think was the assessment centre at the time.
That sounds pretty intense. Do you have a similar experience, Louisa?
Yeah, mine was exactly the same. I think mine was in Aberdeen Mail Centre. But I remember it being a long day, but it was really, really interesting. It's quite nice being in an operational centre to do it because they also gave us a tour of the operational centre. You kind of got to see your first little glimpse of what the operation looks like. And then it was exactly the same as Stefan, just the interview, the group scenario, and then the individual scenario. The main advice for that is, like I say, don't worry about not knowing about the operation. They'll give you all the information. It's answering the questions and being able to sort of explain how you would answer things if you were in that scenario. One of the ones had different stakeholders in it. So you were explaining a situation like to people like on the ground, posties basically, and then sort of to like your manager's manager and how you would deal with like those different kinds of scenarios. So yeah, that was it as far as I can remember. It's quite a while ago now.
So it sounds pretty consistent then, but to any audience that do get to the test centre, don't quote us if it's different.
It will be similar. It will be similar. So it will involve an interview, some activities, group activities, some individual activities, and we'll just be testing your communication skills, resilience, organisation skills, those type of things, and we'll be more assessing for your future potential rather than what you've already done. Don't worry about that you've maybe never been in an operational role. The graduate programme is more about what is your potential and your future potential as a leader within the organisation. So we would be testing for, if you get up and deliver a presentation or a briefing, are you going to be able to do that? Because that is what we would need our future leaders to be able to do.
That's some really great, invaluable advice. put those drama skills to work for all of you that used to drama in school and messed about probably. So speaking then of future, we touched on this a little bit, but can you just break down a little bit for us, Natalie, what happens once the graduate scheme finishes, our graduate program finishes? Is there kind of like a formal interview or presentation process?
Yes. So what happens is you are on a fixed term contract, but towards the last stages of the programme, so towards the final 6 to 12 months, we would be looking for a position for you within the organisation. So we would do some working around what your preferences are, where we've got positions within the organisation, and we would work with key stakeholders within the organisation to see if we can move you off the programme into substantial posts. So what was happening is everyone has a performance review, a yearly performance review. So you would have a performance review every year of the programme, but also towards the end of your programme. And during those performance reviews, we would talk about where you want to go, where you want to offboard to, where we've got vacancies. And then there's lots of people. This is the first organisation that I've worked in, and I've worked in a few, where our senior leaders are really, really invested in our early careers programmes and our graduate programmes, and they take a really keen interest, and they will give up their time to come and sit down with graduates and say, look, we've got this position coming up, would you be interested in this? And we've got senior leaders who say, share amongst the graduates, there's this position coming up, would anyone be interested? Does anyone want to have a chat? So we've got that real buy-in, and we are investing lots into our early careers programmes and the structure of the graduate programme moving forward. So we would work on that in the final stages of the programme. But you would be encouraged to build that network as well across in the organisation, across the entire programme. So if there is particular areas of interest, we would encourage you to go and work in those places for a little bit.
Yeah, nice. Thank you for that explanation. So then during the programme, I'm just going to touch on Nicole's question a little bit, but sort of rephrase it. So this will be aimed at you, Stefan and Louisa. What type of problems might we need to overcome? So during your experience as graduates, from memory, what was kind of the hardest thing that you had to do, or like any particular setback that you can reflect on? And then from that, what advice or what would you tell your younger selves?
I think my biggest thing is that you're often the new girl because you're on rotations. So you're having to go in and sort of not only be the new person and try and understand a new place, you're also quite often coming in as the manager of that new place. And that can be quite a scary thing, both for yourself and for the people that you'll be managing. They don't know who you are. They don't know where you've come from quite a lot of the time. And so it's gaining that trust really, really quickly. Trust is one of the big values of Royal Mail. We have trust at the doorstep, and how do we deliver that trust at the doorstep? It's better if you've got trust in the workplace as well. So one of the big things that I've learned is just building those relationships with people, essentially, so that they feel comfortable with you and they can come to you with things. So that's definitely the biggest problem, or not really problem, but the scariest thing, sort of obstacle that you have to overcome, I would say, is being that new person and having to sort of deal with the challenges that can bring. But it's also really nice when you leave your placement, you sort of can reflect back on after sort of 6 months or however long it's been, to be like, oh, when I came here, it was a really, really scary place. And now it's just where I go to work every day. And I've got all these people and I've got this network that I can take with me to my next placement, and people that you can stay in touch with. It's still nice, going into old offices and kind of people going, oh, hello, it's yourself, so that's really nice. But yeah, I'd say that's the biggest obstacle, but also it makes it quite good fun. It keeps things interesting.
Did you ever feel a little bit of sort of imposter syndrome? Am I good enough to be here managing these people?
Definitely. I think also the thing with this business is people have worked here for a long, long time. You'll be in maybe 4 months and you'll be managing somebody who's been with the business for 40 years. That's quite a difficult thing to manage as well. Is also quite a difficult thing as a young woman to come in and manage. But I felt really, really well supported by the business with that. There's also a huge network, like Women's Network and stuff, that you can speak to about these things. So yeah, you definitely have imposter syndrome, but it's just kind of fighting through that and going, no, I'll learn it. I'll know what I'm doing, and not being afraid to ask silly questions on how things work.
Yeah.
You'll learn the operation. You'll come in and go, I don't know what anyone's talking about. I don't know what these machines do. And I don't understand any of the acronyms that people are telling me, but you will get there. It's just not being afraid to ask questions, and any bit of support that you can get, just reach out and ask for it.
That's really reassuring to know that you have felt supported and that you do have those people that you can reach out to. What about you, Stefan?
Yeah, so some I can't get my words out, I apologise. Yeah, so some familiar things to Louisa. You know, like I say, yeah, Royal Mail is, again, always all about the people. And there are some people who have been here for, you know, just, especially for me, come from hospitality, which feels like some people have been here for a lifetime. And some of them have, like I said, one of the first things I did when I came down to Bridgend was actually award someone their 40-year long service award. And they're by no means, you know, the unique person in the business. In fact, normally you are quite often the unique person in the office because you've only been there for 3-4 months, whereas, you know, maybe the next junior person above you has been there for 10 years. So yeah, sometimes it can be daunting, I think, when you first join an office to like I said, really sometimes feel like you are the only young person there, which is why it's so important that you do get involved sometimes with these employee relation groups, such as young people groups, because there is a lot of support out there for Royal Mail staff, like Louise mentioned. And imposter syndrome, yeah, I mean, I think everyone has imposter syndrome, kind of no matter what they're going to end up doing. But again, this is kind of where those groups are really great. And, you know, like I said, me and Louise are in the same cohort. We've spent a lot of time talking to each other. You know, and there are times where, you know, maybe you are struggling, you reach out to each other. I know we've all got a WhatsApp group between us as a current graduate cohort. And, you know, some days, like I say, maybe on a bad day, or maybe you're doing something you've never done again for the first time. And you just need to talk to someone. And, yeah, there's always support out there. So, yeah, even when there's challenges, there's people that help you climb over them. Nice.
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to end with one more question from myself, and that is aimed at all of you. So anyone who wants to take and go first. But what is your favourite thing about working at Royal Mail?
Definitely the people. How supportive people are. So no, we've like even from the top down. So we've just spoken about imposter syndrome, and we have had members of the exec board who will speak openly about their own lack of confidence, their own imposter syndrome, and how, you know, members of the exec team have gone home some days and thought, oh my word, my career is over. That was the worst day ever. So just the support from the top down, and I would say just the people, you know, you would never not get a response if you just messaged someone on Teams. And I've not been in Royal Mail for very long, so I only joined this year. And I have to say the grads that we had on programme helped me massively understand bits of Royal Mail and the different roles that they're in. You would never message someone and not get a response. People are so willing to help you understand and reassure you that you're not alone when you don't know things in Royal Mail, because it's such a large organisation and there's so much to get your head around and so much to learn. Just knowing that you are not alone.
Yeah. Lovely. Stefan or Louisa, we're a couple minutes away, so give me your things you love about Royal Mail in like a short, snappy statement, if you can.
Yeah, I think for myself, it's the passion that everyone brings, no matter how niche their role is, because there are some really niche roles sometimes in Royal Mail. Everyone's just so passionate about what their role is and what their purpose is for the company, and the importance that we play in communities.
Thank you. Louisa?
Natalie stole my answer. I think the people. I've worked with people like from on the ground to the posties and worked up in head office. And I think, like as Natalie says, everyone is just really, really willing to deliver the best possible customer service for our customers and for our communities. It's a business that's literally everywhere, and there's not been one person that I've met that just doesn't want to do that. So yeah, it's a phenomenal company full of phenomenal people that really do just want to get the mail to the right people. I've got to say, I love my postie. He's such a great smiley guy, and he really likes my dog. So that's great. I'm just going to stick on the screen very quickly in this last minute
that email address once again. So if any of our audience have really been interested by this session, that email is up there. The recruitment is opening towards the end of the year, so get those applications in as soon as possible. But thank you all so much for coming on this call today. It's been very informative, very inspiring. Thank you so much to our hosts, Natalie, Stefan, and Louisa. Do you have any final words, or I think we're wrapped up?
No, I think that's everything.
All right.
I look forward to seeing everyone's applications.
Yes, definitely. And good luck to anyone that does choose to apply. Thank you very much. Have a really lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.